Hello, everybody, and welcome to a little bit of bonus content from all of us here at Your Dark Companion. Now, you may be saying, okay, well, what is so bonus-like about this? Oh, well, for one thing, it's not going to be a regular episode. I don't know how long it's going to go. It may go a whole hour. It may not.
It may go 5 minutes.
It may go 5 minutes. That's right. We can truncate this any way we want. Now, you're wondering, no doubt, on this, the 28th of July, what are these guys doing? Because they've already done one podcast already today. What are they doing another for? Well, here's why we're doing another. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am a big Jeopardy nut. I have been ever since I was a little kid, and I've kind of gone in and out of it over the years. There was a while there when I was like in my 20s and stuff where, you know, you're 20 in your 20s and playing in a band and stuff. You're too cool for any Jeopardy. You know, you don't need it. And I would kind of drift in and out on it. But what I didn't tell anybody was every time I drifted back into it, I really, really liked it. And I wanted to keep watching it, but I had to be cool. So I didn't. And over the years, that's kind of how it would go. I would go in and out of it. Well, somewhere along the line in my 50s or maybe even early 60s, something clicked. I guess this is what happens when you get old. You get into Jeopardy. And at that point, once you're into it, you are really into it. And what goes on Jeopardy really matters. And you're watching closely and you're playing along with it to see how much you know and what you may know that they don't. And that's kind of where I am with it right now. These days, I record it, and it is the last thing I do before I go to sleep every night is watch Jeopardy. And that's just the way we're rolling these days. Why are we bringing all this up? Well, because something pretty damn dramatic happened on Jeopardy a few nights ago. Friday night. It was last Friday night. When that had a champion who had been on for a long time, I believe 16 days. He was a 16-day champion. He was very, very good. Over the course of his run, he ran into and vanquished a few very, very capable challengers who, had he not been on his game, could have easily upended him. But something happened on that night. It was the end of season 41. So this whole story is just kind of hanging in the air until the start of next season. But that night, Scott Riccardi lost in Final Jeopardy. And what was really, really upsetting to me about this is that I knew the answer to the Final Jeopardy question. I knew it. He did not. And I just thought, no, this can't be. He's supposed to know this, not me.
This is not the natural order of things.
No, it's not the natural order of things.
You'll see. Maybe.
The question was about...
Yeah, Becca.
Yeah, Becca.
I don't have the exact question, but the question was about, is it a publishing
We can find it.
magnet? Yeah, we can find it. That also owned movie studios and
Yeah. The
Something
category was 20th century names. The clue was, according to one obituary in 1935, he owned 13 magazines, 8 radio stations, 2 movie companies, and $56 million in real estate. The answer was, who is William Randolph Hearst?
yes.
But Riccardi answered Howard Hughes, which is a very understandable response.
I suppose, but
For some, to be clear. I obviously knew it was wrong as well.
I knew it
the first guy that
immediately.
came to mind for me was William Randolph Hearst.
Yeah.
And when he said Howard
he
Hughes, I just
fun?
thought, no.
Is that who founded Hearst?
Found what?
William Randolph Hearst?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's the one who, he was the original founder of
I
Hearst
believe
Communications?
so.
Okay.
But I don't
Makes
really
sense.
know that. However, we have with us right now, joining us via the Miracle of Riverside from, I believe, Houston.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Just outside of Houston.
Now, this is a guy
Cypress, Texas, just outside of Houston.
Now, this is a guy who has been in here with us before, here inside the YDC mothership, to talk about Jeopardy and being on it and everything. His name is Jack McGuire, and I thank you very much for doing this, sir.
Always a pleasure, Mike. Good to see you again, man.
Were you watching that night? Were you by the channel for this?
I saw it after the fact, and frankly, I'm gonna say I cannot believe you watched Jeopardy right before going to bed. If it were me, I don't think I'd be able to sleep for 2 or 3 hours after the fact. I don't know what you're thinking.
I know that it's weird. I get you. It's weird, but there's just something
it would
about,
amp me up. But hey, man, you do you.
And he pretty much doesn't sleep well no matter what. So,
that explains it. No, so I wasn't actually watching the episode as it aired, but I did see it. I did see it recorded, and yeah, I think my reaction mirrors yours, and probably everybody in America who was watching at that point.
Yeah, it was really shocking because Scott Riccardi is, like most Jeopardy winners, is very low key. It seems like for a Jeopardy winner, the more flatline you are and the more low key you are, the better you're going to do on the show. I mean, nothing ever fazed him. Would you agree with that?
For the most part, I think a lot of this is coming from somebody who has won a stunning total of 0 Jeopardies. But I get one. Yeah, that's okay, fair enough. But I sometimes the winners who what they put that the Hall of Legends they are they're absolutely dialed in. You're right. They're consistent. They are unflappable. They also tend to be a little. They have some sort of eccentricities, but that usually aids in their ability to dominate the others. And I think in Scott's case, that was certainly the case. I mean, I was thoroughly entertained by the episodes that I did watch. I was impressed with his ability to keep winning in even when he was even when he had a cold streak, or when he answered questions incorrectly. Even when he answered final incorrectly at one point, he was still able to pull out the win. And
yes,
I mean that's a sign of a champion. I did hear him mention that he's a video gamer, and he's very much into that world.
right.
That would strike me as someone, especially someone who is good with hand, eye, and timing. As I told you when we last talked, that is 75% of the miracle of Jeopardy is being able to time it exactly right. And I think with more episodes, the more wins he racked up, the more episodes he was able to appear on, the better he was able to time not only the buzzer and the circuit, but also just the cadence of the reading of the questions.
Yeah. I want to get back into that with you, but another thing that I noticed about him was the way he treated the Daily Double. Along the way, he found the Daily Double on numerous occasions, and he was never really a big roller of the dice on that. His wagers were always relatively conservative. I mean, not nothing or anything like that, but some guys, if they find the daily double, they'll go big. They'll make it a true daily double or something like that. He never did that. He played very conservatively on that.
I remember Holzhauer when he racked up his streak. His strategy was to always bet big on the doubles, and so Scott was very different in that regard. And I can only surmise that he was playing the game in a strategic fashion such that he expected to be there for a long time.
Yeah.
Bet conservatively with your eye on maintaining a lead, walking away with the win, and coming back time after time.
On Jeopardy, what is you talked about how you handle the buzzer and time it and everything. Can you give us some idea of the rhythmic qualities of that?
Sure. I mean, the buzzer looks like it has the look and feel of a very heavy ballpoint pen, except that there's a cord on the bottom. There's a button on the top that if you have a tendency to click a pen top for a push pen, it would feel quite familiar.
You're talking to a guy that definitely does that.
I can't imagine.
It's my nervous tick, man.
But yeah, I mean, it's the motion is essentially identical. It's just the buzzer is a little heavier than the typical pen. But yeah, you press down with your thumb, and the tendency and what all the contestants do is to press rapid fire reflexively as fast as they can. But what the good champs will do is they will know, or they will develop a rhythm to know exactly within a fraction of a second when the question stops being read and the circuit opens for one to answer. When you press the button, I think if memory serves, it's something like 0.2 of a second delay if you're not first in, and it will you will essentially penalize yourself by a couple of tenths of the second until you can ring in again. And so I think that's if my memory serves, that's how the circuit works. The really good champions, the Ken Jennings of the world, the Jim Holzhauers, they really develop their timing to a point where they always seem to get the timing when the circuit opened exactly right.
And of course, there is no getting in before the question's even read or anything.
No, that is not an option. And I think it's been that way for most, if not all, of the show's history. That even from the 80s, they made quite certain to make sure that you couldn't gain an advantage just by ringing in early.
Well, it's really amazing and interesting to see a run like this come to an end. I guess it just goes to show that all good things do come to an end sometime, some way, somehow, sometime. But
yeah, absolutely.
Where would you place him among the Jeopardy champions?
Of those I've watched myself, probably in the top 5. I think once, like any good sports star in his prime, an elite athlete, they seem to have a way of, once they're in their rhythm, they're unbeatable, right? That the Michael Jordans of the world, we'll take the Greg Maddoxes of the world. When they were in their zone, they were all but unbeatable, and I think I would put Scott in that category.
Would you say Jennings is the best ever?
I would. I mean, I think that Jennings had kind of the perfect mix of skill, timing, knowledge, and personality that made people want to watch him as well. And I think that's ultimately why they decided to go with Ken as host, and I think it was a good choice.
I think it was a good choice too. I mean, you can't have any kind of, clown or yuck monkey up there hosting Jeopardy. You got to have somebody with a little bit of gravitas.
Exactly. I'm curious though, for you and the crew, does anybody remember a movie from roughly 30 years ago called Quiz Show? Did anybody?
Yeah, I do.
Anybody remember that? You do. Okay.
Yes.
I will admit that movie immediately came to mind at the conclusion of final when Scott finally lost, because again it was just like they described in the film, that it was an answer that a fair number of people and certainly a fair number of viewers probably knew reflexively, and so the fact that one of the grand masters, the grand champions, somehow stumbled on that seemed really odd to a whole bunch of America, but I guess we'll never know.
Well, I was going to say, for what it's worth, he did give, I believe, a response on Reddit, kind of talking through his mindset and mentality. It's a couple paragraphs, but basically he says, as for Final Jeopardy, my mind unfortunately went straight to Howard Hughes, mostly due to overestimating the importance of the movie company's part of the clue. Any previous Final Jeopardies that had come to mind immediately had worked out, so I trusted my initial response on this. Hearst wasn't on my mind at all until the moment Charlotte's answer was revealed, and even then it didn't immediately strike me as correct until Ken confirmed it. Truthfully, I was just especially unprepared to respond correctly to a clue about Hearst. I made a mental note before flying out that I was consistently forgetting to consider, of all things, Citizen Kane and the Tower of London as responses whenever they came up in archived practice clues. In the green room that week, I reminded myself about the Tower of London, but could not remember the other half of that mental note. Also, before I started my prep for the show in earnest, I had found that I was having a hard time properly retaining info on what I found to be a confusing amount of three named Williams in publishing. He says William Randolph Hearst, William Lloyd Garrison, and William F. Buckley, to name a few. Never circling back to that thought after I got the call to be on the show. So several information near misses and a poor understanding of the timeline and the clue really piled up to prevent me from getting what I now understand to be a very gettable clue.
Yeah.
So it makes some sense. It's very convoluted.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And again, that the convoluted nature of it speaks to kind of the mind of Jeopardy whizzes. I mean, I guess my critique of the way he went about answering the question, I mean, generally speaking, though, is the date, because remember that they provided the year in that clue. The year, believe it was 1935. Mm-hmm. Well, Howard Hughes didn't really come into his own until World War II and post-World War II. He founded Hughes Aircraft, I believe, in the early 30s. So the kind of media empire that they're talking about, that didn't really come for another decade or even two. And so, I mean, that was, I guess that would just be me from a historical perspective saying your timing is a little off there.
I think you're saying he's a buffoon.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. Zero Jeopardy wins. That is indeed what I'm saying.
I'm here to help.
No, again, but it's perfectly understandable that when you're in that situation, whatever comes to mind, you try to work through all the different possibilities. But if you're fixated on something for some unknown reason, your first instinct in almost every case is generally correct, and that's probably why he went the way he went.
Well, I'm with you. My first thought was he was tired and ready to go home, and he did it on purpose.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No, I think he was in it for the long haul for sure. However long the long haul was. But gosh, there have been so many great champions over time, and I thought he was right there with them. I thought he was right there with the best and the brightest, the Adriana Harmeyers and whoever else you might want to bring up.
Mm-hmm. I really do think that. I mean, Scott kind of handled himself beautifully through all 16 episodes, and had the added benefit, as I said, of kind of toughing it out through the episodes where he wasn't perfect and when he did have to struggle a bit, or where a lesser player like me would have stumbled. He kept pushing through and managed to find a way to win no matter what. So yeah, I mean, money aside, number of episodes aside, I think for sheer dramatic value, I think he ranks, as I said, probably in my top 5.
Have you seen any medium or long-term winners on Jeopardy who you thought copped a little bit of an attitude?
Yes. Well, I the way I would put that, again, it goes back to what makes some of these people really good is a bit of eccentricity, and so they may be a bit more socially awkward. They may be not as congenial as some of us would otherwise hope they would be or want them to be. But I don't think that necessarily makes them. I don't think that necessarily makes them conceited. I think it's more just a question of, wow, people know my name. I'm famous now. What do I do with that?
Yeah. And then, it's also one of those deals where you are really good at something. And when you are really good at something, you generally know it,
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I guess the difference between people is how one guy handles it as composed to another, or as opposed to another, I should say.
Good catch.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as I think that explains why, one of the major reasons why they decided to go with Ken as host, because I think he incorporated all of the, not just the intellectual qualities, but also the social qualities that go along with being part of Jeopardy lore, and they wanted to figure out a way to make that continue in the wake of Alex's passing. And so I think it was a good fit and good choice.
Excellent choice. No doubt about it. You ever see anybody on Jeopardy copitude?
Like why they were on?
You mean like in person?
Yeah. Or, maybe, like, before the show starts or something, somebody try to big time a guy or something like that.
When I walked into the green room and was introduced to the other contestants, I think I had a preconceived notion that might happen. But I got to tell you, the 8 or 10 or 12 people I encountered that day, every one of them, I mean, to varying degrees, but every one of them seemed to be genuine and nice, and I think they viewed the opportunity to be on Jeopardy in its proper context, which is, this is a great opportunity. It's the dream of a lifetime to actually do this in front of people. So I have not seen that in person, but again, I was only there for a day.
How has your life changed because of Jeopardy? Or has it?
You get to talk to us.
Yeah, you got people.
Yeah,
like us
I get to meet nice, interesting people from North Texas.
We're not nice.
I think, well, and in my own family, my sister and I, stare down each other because we both finished second place on our respective episodes of Jeopardy. But I mean, as a practical matter, other than the fact that the episode that I appeared on happened to have a controversial slip up that got my name.
That's right.
That got me denounced by Code Pink of all people. But no, I mean, in the long term, I think it was a good experience. It changed my viewing habits. It changed my. I think it it answered the question to me, to my satisfaction. How would you do on Jeopardy? Do you think you could do it? And now I know that I can.
I'd take that. I'd take that any day of the week and just be damn happy with it.
Mm-hmm. I have a question. Recently, in fact, I think that this young lady may have gone against Scott in one of his games early on, but I'm not certain of that. But she moved non-stop, like physically was swinging back and forth a lot. Is that irritating if you're up there trying to focus and somebody next to you is moving a lot, or rolling their eyes or making, noises when they don't get in, or, they missed the buzzer time? I don't know.
It would if I had to look at them. But with the way they have the setup with each of us at a podium, is that there are actual dividers. They don't completely wall us off like in the movie Quiz Show, for example, but there are dividers that exist between our positions, so that our focus is on the board, on the host, and we don't really see or detect movement from our fellow contestants to either our left or our right. Now, if they got loud, or if they were humming, or if they were stamping their feet, for example, then yeah, that might result in some sort of controversy where a contestant might say, "Can you knock that off?" I do recall, actually, there was one episode. During my taping session. It wasn't the episode I appeared in, but there was a woman who had difficulty. She had a disability, and she had difficulty standing for more than 10 or 15 minutes at the time. So they did provide her like a bar stool for her to sit on for, I think, for the duration of the episode. But the way she was positioned, you never would have known it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do they coach you guys up before the show and tell you how they want you to be and everything?
They try to give us, they give us the standard warnings about not singing or doing copywritten material in the character. So, for example, I wouldn't say something I wouldn't quote a Simpsons character mimicking that Simpson character's voice.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sing. I wouldn't try to adopt a falsetto and try to sing like a virgin, like Madonna actually would.
Yeah.
You're not, that they get very. They were very specific about, be careful when we're referencing copywritten material because we may not own the rights. But other than that warning, it was really just about getting familiar with the set, not getting overwhelmed by the bright lights or the very cold studio. They intentionally keep it, I think, at 60 degrees. They generally, as you might expect, that what they generally tell us is to try to have fun with it and be animated, be personable, because that's, again, what makes good television.
How much do you notice the audience when you're up there?
Not a heck of a lot, which is kind of strange considering that sometimes you'll freeze on stage. But no, I think, again, they keep the audience quiet. They do give them cues for appreciating, when somebody gets a daily double, or when someone, and I know this has happened in the last few episodes, when somebody runs a category, the audience is allowed to show their appreciation for that with applause only.
Yeah.
You do notice them during when the host chats with the contestants, and occasionally they'll give a funny quip or a response, and the audience will laugh.
Yeah.
Gosh, so cool. So cool.
He
man.
still gets so giddy
I
talking.
thought, yeah, Mike, I certainly thought it was.
I'm such a fanboy, I got to tell you. Oh, God. You got anything, Shoopy?
Oh, that was great, though. I got what I would needed out of it. Just your reaction.
So great.
Well, I guess that's all we got. We just wanted to do a little blast with you here
That's fine.
and see what you thought about it all.
My
man.
wife is almost home. My wife is almost home anyway, so I got to wrap this up.
Okay. Jack, thanks so much, man.
Mike, it was great seeing you. Great seeing you all.
All right.
Great to see you. Thank you, Jack.
There he is. That is Jack McGuire.
All right. I'm going to go take my pants off.
Your Dark Companion is a Stolen Water Media presentation.